On paper, a leadership walk-around is the perfect tool. Bosses get out of their offices, talk to the front line and fix problems. But in practice, it can either be a force for good or a symbolic peacocking exercise that helps make things worse. G'day everyone, welcome to Safe As. I'm Dr. Ben Hutchinson. Today we're unpacking several studies on the effects of leadership walkarounds. References will be on the screen and in the show notes. Now there's varied terms here, so I'll just call them walkarounds. The focus is on healthcare since that's where I found most of the studies, but check out the video on the screen to look at walkarounds in oil and gas and how it can lead to calamity. In healthcare, leadership walkarounds were introduced to increase the clinicians' awareness of safety hazards, demonstrate senior leaders' engagement with safety, and educate employees. And probably pretty similar in other industries. So what was found in the research? Foster and colleagues conducted a systematic review of the evidence. Out of 1,400 studies, only 12 met their inclusion. They found that, generally, walkarounds help staff to feel psychologically safer to report, discuss, and learn from errors. In one of the cited studies from Thomas and colleagues, nurses who participated in the walkaround programs saw significantly higher safety climate scores. Another study cited by Foster et al. Found that near-miss incident reports jumped 44% following the program, and units that participated reported a 21% increase in perceptions of performance. For clinical outcomes, Purvis and colleagues reported a 65% decline in the number of infections. However, just walking around doesn't automatically fix things. Laria and Morag argue that the practice often lacks a system to facilitate organizational learning. They tracked a 3-year case study using a formal information system to capture the data. This created a leadership pipeline where employees eventually performed 5 times as many tours as the managers. As leaders got more involved, their active correction of hazards jumped from 14 to 50 per quarter. But there may be unintended consequences. Rotow and colleagues found a disjuncture between the theory and how leaders actually behave in the field. Some saw visibility as an end in itself. One senior leader admitted, "I do always want to appear as if I'm interested." Another described body language that says, "Look, I think we should just listen and then accommodate them and get out." This attitude often depended on the leader's background. Those without clinical experience were the most dismissive, characterizing staff concerns as stupid, trash, or even polluting. One leader even dismissed staff feedback as whining. This, of course, created intense pressure for staff to perform during the rounds, as in they had to feel like they had to put on a bit of a show. Disillusioned staff felt they poured out their hearts and then got nothing in return, and concluded that the whole thing was just an exercise. The peacocking. Another study from Singer and Tucker had some pretty interesting findings. In their words, while walkarounds may expose minor issues, other significant problems remain latent or undiscovered. Also, leaders may be tempted to disregard the majority of issues identified in favor of a small subset more directly related to human medical errors. So while walkarounds may be more effective for finding relatively minor issues, or very obvious infrastructure-related issues like equipment problems, they seem to be less effective in identifying the latent issues, more connected with complex failures or matters of complex or potentially contentious communication, or interpersonal issues, or difficulty accessing electronic info and assessing clinical decision-making. So they really struggle with the soft interpersonal level factors. And there's the issue of symbolism and peacocking when leaders embark on a visible leadership program, but fail to address the issues raised by workers. This, of course, can lead to frustration. Finally, while many studies highlighted improvements in many facets, mostly survey measures or smaller safety climate studies, some of the larger, more robust studies found declines in safety climate and perceived performance after the safety walkaround program was implemented. Another study found improvements in some areas, but decrements in other areas. While a walkaround sounds easy, go for a walk, talk to people and fix a few problems. This simplistic view is misleading. That is, because while walkarounds can improve some facets of safety, they must be implemented authentically and with full commitment and ability to resolve frontline staff's concerns. These half-hearted, insincere, or ineffective safety walkarounds can backfire, eroding rather than improving safety. If you can't actually fix the issues, or you don't really care about understanding the issues, you're better off not asking the question in the first place. So overall, the evidence suggests there is some positive association between walkarounds and various things like safety climate, But the human element is the wildcard. As Rottau and colleagues conclude, better preparation of senior leaders may help to avoid the counterproductive attitudes and dynamics that were identified in the research. That's it on Safe As. Please like and subscribe and leave a message on the video, it really helps. Feel free to share the video also. Finally, links in the show notes to support the channel.